Welcome back to News for You. I am your hostess with the mostest, Kalwe Kalifungwa, and today in the headlines we have Bireete on remand, Muntu speaks up, and Bezos versus Musk. This and more in the top stories today. Dr. Sarah Bireete, Executive Director of the Center for Constitutional Governance, will remain in prison after court adjourned her bail hearing to January 28. The hearing at Buganda Road Court attracted many supporters who hoped she would be released after 3 weeks on remand. Now, the prosecution opposed her bail application, saying her proposed sureties were not strong enough. They also argued that her medical condition was not a valid reason for bail and said the defense must first prove that Ugandan prisons cannot manage her health needs. And now her lawyers also strongly disagreed, saying the delay is unfair and violates her right to quick court decision. They added that denying bail treats her as guilty before trial. Dr. Bireete was arrested on December 30th and charged on January 2nd, 2026 with unlawfully obtaining or sharing personal data under the Data Protection and Privacy Act. We'll keep you updated as these stories continue to unfold. Former ANC presidential candidate General Mugisha Muntu has blamed his party's poor financial capacity for failing to effectively monitor elections across the country, saying this limited their ability to respond to irregularities seen during the polls. Now, Muntu described the recent elections as flawed and predictable, noting that problems observed were similar to past elections. He said ANC lacks the money needed to collect enough evidence to challenge the results in court, as a credible election petition requires significant resources. So now, instead of going to court, Muntu said the party will reflect, reorganize, and continue engaging Ugandans on democratic values. He also called for an independent investigation into why about 10 million registered voters did not vote. Muntu finished 4th in the presidential race with 59,276 votes. Losers in the recently concluded parliamentary elections have blamed their poor performance on internal fights within their political parties. They warned that unless party leaders address these disagreements early, they could worsen and weaken the parties further. The election saw a mix of new faces and returning MPs in the 12th parliament, despite allegations of voter stuffing. However, many politicians across different parties say internal bickering played a big role in some members failing to retain their seats. Now, some candidates did lose after choosing to run as independents against their party's wishes, while others still lost despite contesting on party tickets. Several also spoke about the emotional and psychological stress they faced from their opponents during the campaigns. Blue Origin, owned by Jeff Bezos, plans to launch over 5,400 satellites to create a global internet network called TerraWave. The system will mainly serve businesses, governments, and data centers, offering very fast data speeds of up to 6 terabytes per second. Yowza. Despite this, TerraWave will still have fewer satellites than Starlink, Elon Musk's SpaceX network, which currently dominates the market and targets individual users. Another competitor is Amazon's Leo project, which plans to launch more than 3,000 satellites to provide internet access to the general public. Blue Origin says it will begin launching TerraWave satellites by the end of 2027. The big boys are fighting. The big boys are competing. May the best neural link network win. We will keep you posted as these stories continue to unfold, guys. Well, that's all we have for you in the news today, guys. Always remember, nobody is you, and that is your power. Stay safe and stay informed.